Hey everyone, it's Ally and welcome back to my channel. So today, just like I promised, I've got another Middle Eastern haul here for you guys. I have 5 fragrances that I recently added to my collection a little while ago and I've been sort of gathering my thoughts on. And if that's something you're interested in, then definitely stay tuned. And for those of you that are new, thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. When you hit the like button, it really helps out my videos, especially if you like these type of videos and this type of content, then definitely let me know. But yeah, we're gonna get started with these 5 fragrances. I've got 5 unique ones that I think are really interesting and that I've been, like I said, gathering my thoughts on that I'm excited to share with you guys. Now, the first one being one from the House of Maison Alhambra. This is one that I was curious about for a while, and this one is called Philos Opus, and this is their take on Xerjoff's opera. This is Philos Opus Noir. Now, this one, I've talked about the Rosso in my last video. This is a pretty much the same bottle, except it's in black and it has like that black velvet feel. I really like this. It's like dark and mysterious. And I personally have never smelt Xerjoff's opera. I've never had any interest in getting it or smelling it, but I was curious about this one to see like what this DNA was supposed to smell like. From what I have seen, Xerjoff's opera is supposed to kind of like smell like an experience. It's a very artistic smelling fragrance. It's supposed to smell like being at an opera. And I will say this fragrance definitely gives me a similar vibe to like what I would envision in my head, an opera to smell like. You've got notes of fruits, Turkish rose, you've got nutmeg, ylang ylang, leather, amber, vetiver, musk, patchouli, cedar, and vanilla. And you guys, this is such a beautiful and unique artistic fragrance. In the opening, you definitely get this like sort of fruity blast. It's really hard to pinpoint what kind of fruit this is. It just seems like an amalgamation of fruit. But it immediately starts to settle down and you start to get this sort of like yellow floral that pops through because of the ylang ylang. It's really, really interesting. I definitely get this leather vibe, but it comes off to my nose as more of a smooth suede. Like you're sitting in these really old plush, like suede or leather seats inside of a very dusty, dark opera. Like it's a really unique fragrance. It really does remind me of like an opera house. Like the smell of like wood and like a dusty feel. Like if you've ever been in an opera house, a lot of the times they have like this woody, dusty sort of feel. The fragrance somehow encompasses that with this sort of like, I don't know, I almost feel like I'm smelling the seats. Like I'm sitting in a seat, I can smell the stage, I can smell the history behind the walls. It's a very fascinating fragrance. It's very unique. It has these woody, earthy elements, especially in the base. I definitely get that sort of like patchouli, vetiver, sort of musky vibe. It's really a fascinating fragrance. Do I think this is gonna be for everybody? No, heck no. Not at all. This is a very particular type of scent that is more for like an artistic person. You know, if you're more on the artsy side and you really appreciate sort of artistic smelling fragrances, then you're probably really gonna like this. This is very long lasting. What I do enjoy about this fragrance is that sort of yellow floral mixing in with these sort of dirty, earthy elements. I think that's a really unique, you know, a unique concept. It's not something that I would have ever have thought of like playing together. Having something so bright and floral and inviting mixed with something so dark and sort of like moody. It really is quite a moody fragrance. But for those of you that want to smell like old money, that want something that's gonna stand out, I think this will really do the job. I've noticed that this one heats up on skin beautifully and creates this really interesting sort of sillage behind you that just smells really expensive and like old money. I don't know how to describe it. It almost smells like you're smelling literal money. That sort of dusty paper-like quality. Yeah, it's a fascinating fragrance. Definitely not for everyone, but definitely a unique one. If you are a fan of Xerjoff Opera, definitely look into this one if you wanted something that was a bit more on the affordable side. I think I paid like 20 bucks for this one. Really not that expensive. And yeah, I love the House of Maison Alhambra. They have some of my favorite fragrances thus far this year. Now, this is a newer one from the House of Lattafa. This one just recently came out not that long ago. And I really wanted to try it out and get it in my collection. But this one is called Lattafa Angham. And this is their take on Burberry Goddess. You guys, when I got this fragrance, I was shook. This fragrance is so amazing. I have smelled Burberry Goddess in store. I've tested it out multiple times. I just recently went to Ulta and tested out the Intense version. I like the fragrances, but like I'm not drawn to buying them. This is in a similar line to Burberry Goddess, but this is not a one-to-one dupe. If you are buying this thinking that you are getting a one-to-one exact dupe, you're mistaken, because this is not an exact dupe, but it definitely smells inspired by that fragrance. And dare I say, you guys, this is so much better than Burberry Goddess. I know, don't come for me in the comments. I know that's probably controversial, but I'm kid you not, I love this fragrance. It is so smooth, so sexy. I still get the lavender note in this, but it's so much smoother and more like rounded out compared to like the original Burberry Goddess. I feel like in the original Burberry Goddess, it's still a very like non-challenging, lavender. But this one, that lavender, which a lot of the time lavender can have like kind of sharp edges that, people might find a little challenging. This one is smooth. It is sweet. It is playful. Oh my God, like the first time I got this fragrance and I sprayed it on me, I was kind of shook. Like I literally was like wowed by this fragrance. At the end of the year, when I do like my favorite Middle Eastern scents of, 2024, this is for sure gonna be on that list because this fragrance has blown my mind. You've got notes of pink pepper, mandarin, ginger, praline, cacao, lavender, jasmine, vanilla, amber, and musk. And you guys, this is, oh, in the opening, you just get this really beautiful, bright blast of like amber and vanilla. And you start to get this really sweet, beautiful lavender note that just brings a smile to my face every time I smell it. I'm just like, I'm thrilled I have this in my collection. Since I haven't had this fragrance long, but like I've already put a dent in it, like as you can see. There's already quite a dent in this one. I keep reaching for it over and over. I personally like the bottle. It's got like, if I can get it to focus, like musical notes on it. I think it's really, really cute. And you guys, I'm gonna get a backup bottle. This is backup bottle worthy. This DNA is so gorgeous. It's so warm, inviting, vanillic, but that amber is so beautiful. The amber note in this reminds me a little bit of Prada Candy, the original formulation, like the OG formulation before they reformulated it and made it like kind of capuzzi. But this almost reminds me of like if Burberry Goddess had a baby with Prada Candy. That's what this smells like. I just blew my own mind. That's what this smells like Prada Candy, the OG, mixed with like Burberry Goddess. This is a hit, you guys. This is a stunner. She is beautiful. The girl wearing this is absolutely stunning. She's playful. She has this sort of je ne sais quoi quality about her. You just can't put your finger on it, but there's just something so otherworldly, almost like there's a veil of beauty like placed upon her, and she's like magical, a little fairy, kind of pixie girl, like, ooh. You guys, this one is so good. Honestly, this one has me shook. I'm not going to talk about it that much more other than like this lasts forever. This projects beautifully. If you want to compliment getting fragrance, oh my gosh. Just get this one. This is 10 out of 10. You know what? 20 out of 10. This one blew my mind. Blew everything out of the park. Amazing, stellar fragrance. Lattafa comes through. Lattafa's coming through. Like, out of my favorite Middle Eastern brands, Maison Alhambra and Lattafa, though they are both from the same like company, I think like Maison Alhambra is like Latafa is the parent company to Maison Alhambra. They're coming out with some stunners, you guys. Do not sleep on the House of Latafa. Do not sleep on the House of Maison Alhambra. 10 out of 10. This is a slay. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is one from the House of Swiss Arabian. And this is one of the oils. I actually found this at TJ Maxx on my way to the checkout. I was walking to the checkout and they have, you know, they have all those like weird things like in the line that sort of draw you in, so you're surrounded by like impulse buys. Well, this was there and it was an impulse buy. I've reviewed the Rouge one before, and this one is Amali Swiss. So this is a different fragrance, but the bottle is beautiful. It looks like this. Whoop. It's this beautiful flower. It's got like some really pretty detailings. I really love this sort of Arabian bottle sort of effect this has. It has a beautiful crystal cap. You have to twist it open, and then you've got the wand with like the oil on the wand, and you rub it on skin. And when you rub it on skin, then you rub the skin together to warm it up and sort of turn the fragrance on. A lot of the times when you spray like a perfume, you don't want to rub it together, but with an oil, you do want to rub it together to actually activate it and get the full potential of the fragrance. Now, what does this smell like? Well, you've got notes of lemon, apple, pineapple, rose. You've got jasmine, musk, vanilla, caramel, amber, sandalwood, and cedarwood in the base. And to me, this isn't my favorite fragrance, especially in the opening. If I smell it just from here, I know this is gonna sound weird, but it smells a little incensey, even though there's not any incense, but I'm really getting that sort of cedar, amber, like sandalwood sort of effect that's creating this sort of almost incensey vibe. But if you took the note of bubble bath or like soap, like clean ivory soap, and turned it into an incense stick or infused it into an incense stick, it smells like an incense stick that is supposed to smell like clean soap. Just off of here, I put a little bit on my hand a while ago, just so I could get the deep dry down of this fragrance. But I do not like the opening with this one. I find the opening very powdery, very soap-like, very just, it's very powdery. Some people might interpret it as baby powder-esque, and I can see why. But it's like baby powder mixed with like this sort of incensey vibe. It's definitely not my vibe. But where the magic lies in this fragrance is the dry down. If you have the patience to let this dry down and get past all that powderiness, it starts to sweeten up and you get that caramel and that amber and vanilla and this sort of slightly fruity, very floral sort of scent. It's floral, it's fruity, it's sweet. It's really, really pretty. But that like initial opening and the initial feel is very deceiving because it's very powdery. It takes a while for this one to dry down to get to that nitty gritty, like sweet sort of candied, like floral yumminess that it can get to. But this one, like I said, might be a little bit challenging, especially if you're not the biggest fan of powder or like very soapy, clean fragrances. This one might be a little bit hard to get through. But if you can stomach it and get through that, you are left with a really beautiful sort of clean, sweet floral that actually smells pretty nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually pretty cute. It's a really cute fragrance, but like I said, it's very powdery and it might be a little much for people. The first time I wore this, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this one. Like, I had immediate like blind buy regret. I was like, oh, it's a lot to take in. But luckily I let it sit and I actually found that I enjoyed the deep dry down. It loses a lot of the powdery facets that it has, but they still are in the background, kind of like lingering, but they're not overtly powdery and in your face like they are in the first like 20-30 minutes of wearing it. After 20-30 minutes to an hour, you really start to see what this fragrance is really like, which is a sweet floral kind of sparkling fragrance. But yeah, definitely a really interesting one. This one creates a very soft sillage around you, but if you want something that's a little bit softer that will do really good in high heat, and great for like that warm weather that is going to heat up on the really beautifully on the body, then you probably would like something like this. But like I said, it's just that sort of really powderiness that got to me. Now, the next one that I'm going to talk about is another one from the House of Swiss Arabian, and this one is called Sir Al Sheila, and the bottle looks like this. The bottle looks really beautiful. There we go. It's got this really pretty cap with like a little blue sort of like embellishment on there that looks like a little blue crystal. I think the bottle is really pretty. It's definitely giving like Arabian vibes, and I really like this fragrance. It is a plush red rose fragrance that is so pretty. Now, this one has a lot of oud in it. Like, I'm just gonna put that. It has oud in the top notes, it has oud in the mid notes, it has oud in the base. So you have to love oud, but this isn't skanky, this isn't dirty, it's not barnyardy, it's not fecally in any way. This is one of the smoothest ouds I've put my nose on in a hot minute. In the top, you have spicy notes and oud. In the mid, you have rose and oud, Italian iris, and jasmine. Now in the base, you have patchouli, oud, amber, and vanilla. Like I said, there's a lot of oud in this, but this is so beautiful. Now this one gets compared a lot to Armani Privé Rose d'Arabi, and it also gets compared to Jo Malone's Velvet Rose and Oud. I have not tried the Armani Privé one, but I have tried the Velvet Rose and Oud, and I will say this definitely does remind me of Velvet Rose and Oud, but honestly, I think I prefer this better. It is a beautiful red rose. It is red roses. Like, imagine the most beautiful girl you've seen in a long time. She is working in an office, and all of a sudden, you know, this order of giant red roses come in because her boyfriend sent her like this huge bouquet. They are plush, they are red. You can smell that deep red, juicy, beautiful, jammy quality that these roses have. And they are sitting at her desk, and she's just sort of like, oh my gosh, you know, like that's the sort of vibe I like see in my head when I smell this. She is like dressed to the nines. She is in her corporate era. She is looking snatched, and her man is just obsessed with her and sent her the biggest, most expensive bouquet of roses. And they are gracing her, you know, work area, her little desk area. And she's trying to act all demure and like, oh, oh my God, he loves me so much. That's kind of the vibe that this fragrance gives me. This smells expensive. There is something very serious about this, but also very like soft at the same time. I definitely get the woody components of the oud. It definitely has a woody base, but it has this beautiful jammy red rose that is very prominent, and it has this sort of slightly powdery facet because of the iris, but it's not a powdery fragrance in any way. It's just powdery in like the sense of like almost like a lipsticky, makeup-y maybe. Like that's what like associates my brain with like this beautiful girl, almost like a cosmetic-y sort of feel to it. But man, it's a beautiful jammy red rose. It is a little aromatic in the beginning when you first spray it on, but like the longer this sits, you lose sort of those aromatic components, and then the vanilla and amber start to shine about 15-20 minutes into this fragrance, and it is sweet, it is beautiful, it is luxurious. If you want to smell like a huge bouquet of red roses that smells sexy, that has a little bit of an earthy quality, but not overtly earthy, that softens up the longer it sits because of that vanilla and amber, then you're really gonna like this. It has the perfect amount of spice. It's not overtly spicy, but there are definitely spices. You get the spices mostly in the opening with that sort of oud and that rose. It sort of smells like kind of greenish and spicy and aromatic, but like I said, as it settles down, it softens and becomes the most beautiful luxe plush bed of roses. Beautiful. This is just a beautiful fragrance. It smells expensive, and for the price that I paid, like, it smells like it should cost 3 times more. honestly. Like, I was kind of shook by this one and really impressed with the quality. Swiss Arabian, you nailed it with that one. I really love that fragrance. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk about is one from the House of Maison Alhambra, and this is like 10 out of 10. I love this. The packaging was phenomenal. The fragrance is phenomenal. I'm obsessed. I wish I had this earlier on in summer because I would have utilized this like almost every day. But since having it in my collection, I have been wearing this one pretty frequently. I'm in love. And this one is from the House of Maison Alhambra. This one is called Scepter Malachite. Scepter? I don't know how to say that. It looks like this. At first, when I first saw the bottle online, I was not impressed. I was like, oh, I don't know. But like in person, this bottle is so much prettier. It is this green sort of like, there we go, bottle. It's got a really pretty like purpley like little gemstone right here, this gold railing, like this beautiful like malachite green sort of colored bottle. This is screaming luxury. I wasn't expecting it, like from the packaging, the box it came in, to like just this in general. Whoa, like this would have, if someone would have gifted me this, I would have been like shook. I'd have been like, dang, that must be expensive, because it feels expensive. I like how like snug the cap like sort of clicks into place. This fragrance is dynamite. What does it smell like? Well, this is supposed to be their take on God of Fire. So a very like tropically mango scent that is gonna be perfect for summertime. And you know what? I've never smelled God of Fire, but I'm in love with this. You've got notes of green tangerine, bergamot, black currant. You have aromatic notes, lavender, jasmine, spicy notes, pink pepper, amber. You've got musk, woody notes, and vetiver. And you guys, this is insanely good. Easily a unisex fragrance. And I mean, did you see that sprayer? Like, whoa, that mist. Oh my gosh. This is juicy. This definitely gives me a mango-ish vibe, but it's because of that green tangerine. That green tangerine has this sort of bitter, refreshing kind of green feel to it. But it reminds me of like a green mango. You know, like if you're smelling the flesh, that fleshy sort of green sort of skin, it smells like the skin of a really green mango. It's a little sour because of that bergamot mixing in with that tangerine, giving it the sort of like tinge to it. But it also has these really clean aromatic components to it that remind me a little bit of like Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Like when I say aromatic, I mean more in line with that. So still very wearable. Oh my gosh, this is just beautiful. And you have these florals lingering in the background that just makes it so pretty. This is such a gorgeous, clean, refreshing, fruity fragrance that honestly is perfect for summertime. This performs so dang beautifully out in high heat. Like if you want to stand out, if you want to smell expensive, if you want to smell luxurious, if you want to smell sexy and clean and unique, do yourself a favor and get this in your collection. This is such a gorgeous fragrance, and this makes me want to get my nose on God of Fire, because if God of Fire smells like this, then I need to see what's up with that fragrance, because now I'm interested. You know what I'm saying? Like this has piqued my curiosity because this smells expensive, this smells niche, this looks niche. I'm in love. 10 out of 10. The sillage on this, incredible. The projection, phenomenal. Like this is gonna leave a trail of just like exotic, fruity cleanness behind you that is gonna captivate anybody walking behind you. Like I said, if you wanna smell good, this is the one. But yeah, you guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want more content, definitely, like I said, like and subscribe. I've got more hauls coming your way. And if you want to see more of me, definitely check me out on Instagram. I'm under Goddess on Neptune. Same on Threads. And yeah, I hope you guys found this video informative. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.